Hi everyone, I'm Jackie and welcome to my channel, Cherished Memories Crochet. Today I'm going to show you how to crochet my Cherished Heart angel. She stands about 5.5 inches tall. I made her with a white sparkle yarn. I also made one with a mauve sparkle yarn. The yarns are 4 in weight, and I used a 3.5 hook for her head, the hook and her halo and her hands. And for the wings in her skirt, I used a 4mm hook. And we'll push that aside and get started. First, we're going to do the hook. And I did 20 chains. And you're going to want to leave a tail so we can tie it inside the head. And just go ahead and slip stitch to that first chain. Keep your stitches tight. Now chain 1. Pull your yarn. Leave a tail. And that's what it should look like. Now we're going to set that aside for right now. And we're going to do her head. And I've got a, the yarn is a buff color. And we're going to start out with a magic circle. For those that don't know how to do that, take your yarn, wrap it around 2 of your fingers, make an X. Take your hook, put your hook under the one on the right, go over the one on the left and bring it under the one on the right. Pull up a loop, now chain 1 to lock it in place. Okay, so now we're going to do 6 single crochets inside that magic circle. And one more, 6. Now pull that tail tight, just like that. And now we're going to slip stitch into that very first single crochet we just did. Just like that. Now we're going to chain 1. Now a lot of people, when they do heads, they won't chain 1. They'll use a marker and just do continuous rounds. I don't do that because I will lose the pin, the marker, and I'll have to start all over. So this is how I started doing it, and it doesn't show up in the head. You can't really see where you did the chain 1. So you can do it with the markers, or you can do it the way I'm doing right now. I chained 1, and it helps you count the rows easier too. Okay, so now I've done the chain 1, and I'm going to go right back in to that first single crochet, and I'm going to do 2 single crochets. And you're going to do 2 single crochets all the way around, and when you get to the end of the circle, you should have 12 single crochets total, and I'll meet you there. Okay, I've got my 12 single crochets. So now I'm going to slip stitch into that first single crochet. Okay, so now we're going to do round 3. I'm going to chain 1, and in that same stitch I'm going to do 1 single crochet, and in the next one I'm going to do 2, and the next one I'll do 1 single crochet, then 2. So continue that pattern until you get to the end of the circle here. Do 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and continue that to the end, and I'll meet you there. Okay, I'm back. I've got my 18 single crochets. So far we should have in the middle of the first row, we got 6 single crochets. The second we've got 12, and now we have 18. So now we're going to slip stitch into that first single crochet. I'm going to chain 1. And now we're going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch. I'm going to go right back into that first one here. And we're going to do 1 single crochet in rows 4 to 6. So the next 3 rows, go ahead and do 1 single crochet in each stitch, and I'll meet you at the end of row 6. Okay, I'm at the end of row 6. I've got 18 stitches in each row from 4 to 6. Now I'm going to slip stitch to that first single crochet. I'm going to chain 1, and in that first stitch we're going to go right back in there and do 1 single crochet. And now we're going to do a single crochet decrease. We're going to go into the next stitch like that right underneath, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now if you got 2 loops on your hook, you're going to go into that next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now you've got 3 on your hook, yarn over and go through all 3 of those. So we've got a single crochet and a single crochet decrease. So now we're going to go in the next stitch and do 1 single crochet. And now we're going to do our decrease again. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over. Now you've got 3, yarn over, and go through all 3 of those. The next one we'll do a single, and I'll do 1 more decrease with you. Go through both loops, yarn over, pull up a loop, go in the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now you have 3, yarn over, and go through all 3 of those, and just continue that. 1 single crochet and a double or a decrease, a single crochet and a decrease until you get to the end of the row, and I'll meet you there. Okay, I'm at the end of row 7. You should have 12 stitches. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hook out, and I'm going to put in our hook. Okay. So take your hook and take it up through the head. And we're going to put our hook here, the thing that hangs on the Christmas tree. Just go ahead and get those tails and just bring it through. If you can't bring them both through at the same time, just go ahead and just do one at a time. Just like that, and make sure you didn't pull too much in there. So that looks about right. So just go ahead and flip the head and take the tail of the magic circle and your 2 tails from what's going to be the hook, and just tie them. I tie mine twice. Just like that. Now you can cut off the excess. Now what I do is I stuff my head. You can use stuffing, you can use scraps of yarn. I've even used cotton balls before. And just put some in there. You don't have to put all of it in there. You can finish up after this next row. So now this is row 8. I'm going to take a little bit out. You're going to slip stitch into that first single crochet. Okay. I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to do decreases all the way around, and you should have a total of 6 stitches at the end. Insert your hook, bring up a loop, and the next stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. You've got 3. And in the next one, so now there's 2. And 3. Four, and my last one, 6. Okay, so now if you want more stuffing, and I want a little bit more, you can go ahead and do that right now. And for the next part, I used my tapestry needle, and I left it in the other room, so I'm going to put you on pause while I go in there and get it. Okay, I've got my head stuffed as much as I want, so I'm going to close it up now. So we're going to go over here to this first decrease that we did. And we're going to slip stitch there. Just like that. Now we're going to chain 1, pull our yarn, and you're going to want to leave a long enough tail because we're going to sew it in. I'm going to get my needle. You don't really have to do that last knot there, but I do as an extra security to make sure it doesn't come loose. Then I get my tapestry needle, and I'll go in and out of those last 6 stitches we did. 2, okay, so now just go ahead and pull it. Just like that. Now we're going to just find a stitch anywhere and make you a knot. And there's our head. Whoops, sorry. I hit my camera. Okay. So that's what your head should look like. Make sure you have a tail, and if you accidentally cut it off or it's too short, you can always add to it. Okay, so we'll put that over to the side. Okay. Now we're going to do the halo. Well, let's see. I'll bring the head back. We're going to do the halo. So we're still using our 3.5 millimeter hook. Going to make a knot. And chain about 20. And then you can see if it fits her head. Okay, there's 20, we'll see. And yeah, I think that fits. So now what we're going to do is we'll slip stitch back into that very first chain we did. Well, I'm all thumbs today. Okay. Chain 1. And there it is. And what I do is I glue my halos on. So what I'll do is I'll weave my ends in the first couple stitches and then cut them, and then I'll glue it on. Okay, I'll set those aside. So now we're going to do the hands. Okay. Get my buff color yarn. So we're going to make a knot. We're going to chain 16. Okay, so now we're going to skip that first chain. We're going to go into that second chain and we're just going to do a slip stitch. Just like that. And we're going to do that all the way to the end. And we're going to do this for a total of 3 rows. So when you get to the end, chain 1, turn your work, and do another row, row 2 of just single or slip stitches across. When you get to the end of row 2, chain 1, turn your work, and do your last row, row 3, just in slip stitches, and I'll meet you at the end of row 3. Okay, I'm just at the end of my first row. I wanted to jump on here and give you a tip. I'm starting my second row, and if you have a hard time going through both loops, you can just go through that first one there, just like that. So if you've made your row 1 a little bit tight, your stitches, then it makes it a lot easier just to go through that first loop and do your slip stitches instead of both loops. Okay, and I'll meet you at the end of round 3. Okay, I'm at the end of row 3. So now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of fold it a little bit, because we're going to want it like this. We're going to go over here to the first stitch we did in row 1 here. Or well, that would be our chain, I'm sorry. My tail's getting in my way. And we're going to just slip stitch all the way down. You can just go through one loop, it makes it a lot easier. And then go straight across, slip stitch. And try to make sure you get in the one right straight across. Your stitches are so tiny, you have to kind of work at it a little bit, but just continue that. Just slip stitch row 3 to your chain of 16, and I'll meet you here at the end. Okay, I'm done slip stitching my 3 rows together. So I'm going to chain 1, pull my work, I'll just leave a little tail in case you want to tie your hands together. I usually glue. I've done both. So, so far we've got the arm, got the head and the hook, and the halo. So we've got the hardest part of the angel done. So I'm going to do a part 2 of how to crochet the wings and her skirt and how to put her together. So thank you for joining me for part 1, and I'll see you in part 2. Bye-bye.